Hello, beloved community. Here I am at Anasa Yoga in Oakland, California. This is our last day of really being in the space. And I'm here doing my practice, not in my living room where I typically am. That has been turned into all kinds of things now, the yoga studio being one. But I thought I'd do my practice here at the studio on our final day of our lease. And one of the things that I've been working on in this class is, in my particular class, is the last couple of weeks is a variation of dancing warrior. And I wanted to share that practice with you today. So this is a practice I've been doing for the last couple of weeks and just kind of been riffing off of it, but I thought I'd show it to you and share it with you. And also I am going to do it with blocks, and then I'm going to do it without blocks. And I'm going to start off pretty slow, and the last couple of times I'll go a little bit faster. So I hope you enjoyed the practice. It can be fun and you can riff on it as well. So here we go. We're going to start on the mat. And I'm going to take my blanket and I'm going to put it right underneath my knees. And feel free to start your practice any way that you like. Sometimes I sit in Virasana. Sometimes I sit in a cross-leg position. So just find however you want to start. If I'm pressed for time, Amy, just start with a really strong tabletop just to kind of open up my back and create some space through my spine. So we're going to start on all fours. Just spreading the palms, lengthening the fingers, maybe stretch the legs out a minute and then bring them back in. And then curl the toes under so you have a really firm contact with the balls of your feet on the mat. And just feel that for a moment and just feel how the spine is just kind of, your torso is just kind of hanging off your arms and your pelvis. And then with your next exhalation, go ahead and pull the top of your thighs back. You might feel the abdominals drop up and come up into the body, and then draw the arms forward. And see if you can feel that space in your spine, and let the crown of the head come forward. And just be there for a few moments. And then release those actions, and then do it again about 3 times. Curling the toes under, rooting the balls of the feet down, rooting the circumference of the hands down, lengthen the fingers, and drawing the thigh bones and the bones of the arms away from each other, drawing the sides of the hips away from each other, and then release. And one more time. Tabletop position. The actions of rooting the hands, rooting the feet, energetically drawing the arms and the legs away from each other, noticing and observing what that does for the rest of the spine and the neck and the shoulders. And then with your next exhalation, we're going to do a small bend in the elbows, letting the elbows draw towards the rib cage. And we're going to come up into cow pose. And you're going to bend the elbows so we can get as much extension through the shoulders. And you're going to, again, draw the arms and the legs away from each other. And then we're going to come into we're going to come into cat pose. And this time we're going to draw the legs and the arms towards each other to let the spine draw up to the sky. And we're going to do about 5 of those. Working the actions of the arms and the legs and noticing the freedom that it gives us in the spine, creating space. Breathing, connecting to your breath. And feel free to just, linger in any place that feels good for you. For me, it's this position. I don't typically do this. So this is feeling new and different. 2 more for me. And after you do your last one, you're going to press back into child's pose. Give the wrists and the shoulders a break, a little rest. And then uncurl the toes, press back into child's pose. Feel free to take a block. I have my blocks on the side, but have a block for your forehead and reach the arms forward for a moment. And then we're going to reach the arms to the side, let the elbows drop down into the blanket or the floor. Let the head release, let the back spread, just opening up the back body. And just seeing if you can let the shoulders wrap around towards your front body and towards the mat. Breathing in the back body as the top of the thighs take the weight of the torso. Softening in the hip creases. And then we're going to move into an active child's pose by simply bringing the arms forward and coming up on the fingertips. And we're going to lift the underside of the arm, both arms up. So the right and the left arm, and lift the arms up and just getting into the shoulders. And maybe you would lift the head up a little bit and lengthen the neck forward and bring the head back down. I'll take my glasses off. They're in the way now. That's my neck is getting longer. Got to move the block away a little bit. And then with your next exhalation, bring the palms back down. And then spreading the palms and the fingers, press the hands down into your mat. Lift the underside of the arms up. Keep that lift up and come back into a tabletop position. Okay, then from here, we're going to do another cow pose. We're going to bend the elbows and we're going to draw the sides of the chest through the arms, draw the breastbone forward, drawing it so it's making its direction towards being perpendicular to the floor. Once again, the arms and the legs are reaching away from each other, getting into an extension of the spine, and then curl the toes under. And then we're going to come into kind of a half downward dog. I'm pressing my hips back. My heels are off the floor and I'm drawing my rib cage towards my thighs. And I'm lifting that underside of my arm just to open up my shoulders here, rooting down through my palms, breathing. And then bring our awareness to our inner legs and let the inner legs initiate the action of the movement of straightening your legs, spreading the back of the thighs, and being here for downward dog. Really pressing into the hands to push the weight back into your legs and your feet especially. See if you can really bring the pose into your feet and legs. Let the sit bones not only go back, but they also lift up. Crown of the head down towards the floor to release the neck. And then come down and rest in child's pose again. Find a place for the arms to release, to have something to drop into, to release the shoulders. Letting the body rest at times between the poses. And then once again, we're going to bring the arms forward into that child's pose. And then we're going to come up into all fours. We're going to bend the elbows again and come into that cow pose. So we bend and then we straighten the arms, pull the legs and the arms away from each other. And that sounds weird, but we're creating space in the spine. Curl the toes under. And then once again, let's reach back with the outer hips and the sit bones. Put the weight in our feet. Lift the underside of the arm away from the mat as you root the palms into your mat. And then bring your awareness to the inner legs, all the way from the top of the groin to the inner heel. And let the inner legs roll back to spread the back of the legs from inner to outer for the hamstrings, just opening up the hamstrings. Once again, draw the legs away from the arms and the arms away from the legs. And maybe you'll feel a release into the pose. And then we're going to walk back into Uttanasana, just one hand at a time, lifting the sit bones up. Feel free to bring the blanket with you, and you can use the blanket to press your palms into. So we're just really opening up the legs, rooting down through the feet and the hands. So feel free to press down into that blanket with your hands and feel the lift of the pelvis, creating some space in the pelvis. And then we're going to come down into Uttanasana. The hands can still be on the blanket, but the crown of the head is going to drop to the mat. And then from here, we're going to bring the hands to the outer hips. We're going to come back through that cow pose, drawing the breastbone forward, lifting up from the breastbone, getting the shoulders over the hips. And then we're going to exhale and take the arms up, reaching the arms up from the lower back ribs, fingertips to the sky, and then exhale and bring the arms down. Okay, so that's the warm up for the vinyasa that I've been doing. And then from here, we're gonna go and, no, I know, we're gonna do this first. So we're gonna take a block and put it through the center of your mat. And then we're gonna take your strap. So you wanna have two, so I have two, didn't mention this earlier, but I have 2 blocks, a blanket and a strap. And I'm gonna turn my back towards you so that you can see what I'm doing with this strap. I take the strap between the webbing of my thumb and my finger, and I take the arms out to the side so that I can still see, but not too far to the side. I can still see my hands and my peripheral vision. And then from here, just let the webbing, see if you can, it's not going to stretch unless you have a TheraBand or something like that, but see if you can lengthen through the center of the shoulder blades and lift the breastbone up and lift the crown of the head up as you reach the feet into your mat. And then from here, go ahead and twist to the right, turn or twist to the right, and come back. Okay, and you want to make sure that in this position that you feel your shoulder blades on against the strap. So the more, and then once you feel the shoulder blades against the strap, see if you can move the shoulder blades away from the strap. Yeah, to get that opening through your chest. Now, from here, we're going to do the twist again to the right. And now we're going to twist, imagine you're twisting from the left kidney, which is right about the top of your left side of your pelvis. So imagine you're twisting from there. So you're not twisting the pelvis, but really from the inner body. And then imagine you're twisting from the left lung. And now bring your awareness to the rib cage and twist from the right. I'm sorry, that's the left rib cage. And then reach the arms away, lift the breastbone up and lift the crown of the head up, taking up space, even though the body is somewhat compact. And then come forward again, and then twist to the right. All right, and let's relax the arms before we do the other side. Okay, and so we're gonna go to the left this time. So we're gonna bring the strap around the shoulders, extend through the hands, ground down through the feet, lift up in the breastbone, and we're gonna twist to the left. And again, I did with my pelvis. So just from the waist, twisting from, and then come back to center. Now we're going to twist to the left again, and we're going to twist from the right kidney. And then we're going to twist from the right lung. And then from the right rib cage, reaching the fingers away from each other and come back to center and twist to the left and come back to center. And let's relax. And so this time, let's take we're going to do one more round of that, the little different emphasis, but we're going to take the strap and the webbing of our hand again, and we're just going to do some shoulder circles to release some of that tension. So taking the strap up, pressing down through the feet, and then lift it up. And so you can take the strap behind you and then bring it forward. And let's do 2 more of those, lifting up and forward and lifting up and forward and release. Okay, so we're gonna do another round of that. And so again, I take it between my thumb and my forefinger, reach through my fingers, and I'm coming into the twist, and I'm twisting from my left kidney, and twisting from my left lung, and then my left rib cage. Now you're going to feel the shoulder blade more against your left shoulder blade against the strap more so than your right. So what I'd like you to do is lift up, root down through the feet, lift up in the breastbone, and then draw that left shoulder blade away from the strap as you lean the right shoulder blade into the strap to open the shoulders, crown of the head up, and come back forward. And let's take a rest. So with time and patience, you see your body get deeper and deeper into these poses and just discover places that you've never discovered before. All right, other side. After that little rest, take the strap between the finger and the thumb and root down through both feet. And then we're going to twist to the left. Then we're going to twist from the left kidney. We're going to twist from, and this is the right kidney. And then we're going to twist from the right lung and then the right shoulder. And we're feeling the right shoulder against the strap. Draw the right shoulder blade again away from the strap and lean back into the left shoulder blade. Lift the breastbone up, lift the crown of the head up, reach the arms away from each other, come back to center and relax. And then best release the strap and let's just circle the shoulders. And then the other way. Okay. So now we're going to come up against the wall and we're going to do Ardha Chandrasana because it's going to be part of the Dancing Warrior Sequence variation that we're going to be doing. So you can bring your mat up against the wall if you like. And you're going to take the arms out to the side. I'm going to turn the right foot out, the left foot in. We're going to bend into Virabhadrasana Warrior 2. So feel that bend. And then from here, we're going to reach the right arm out, bring the hand to the floor. I bring my left hand to my outer hip. And I'm going to come up into the pose along the wall. And go ahead and just feel the contact of your right shoulder blade and your right outer hip against the wall. And then reach the arms away from each other like you have that strap in your hand. Now, what I want you to do is lean back on that left shoulder blade against the wall and draw that right hip away from the wall and the right shoulder blade away from the wall. So the only contact you have with the wall is that left shoulder blade. So you're right on that leg, that right leg. And then bend the knee. And when you bend the knee, reach the left leg back, bring the right hand to the outer right foot. and then come up. Bring the feet to parallel, and then we'll go to the other side. We'll turn the left foot out, right foot in. We'll take the arms out to the side, bend the left knee, reach out and over that leg, hand to the floor. Then when you get the weight over that left foot, begin to let the back leg float up. Feel free to feel that outer hip and that shoulder on the wall. And then begin to play with leaning the right shoulder blade against the wall and drawing the outer left hip away from the wall and the left shoulder away from the wall towards the midline of the body. And then once again, bend the knee, reach that right foot back, take the left hand on the side of the left foot and come down. And then use the legs to come up. Bring the feet to parallel. And then you can take a right angle at the wall here, or simply do a downward dog at the wall, or you can just come to your mat and do your downward dog there. And just to bring some symmetry in the body, just a nice, balanced downward dog. And then when you feel the symmetry back into your body, begin to bend the knees and come down into a child's pose. Again, letting the shoulders spread. And then rising up. And then we'll come to the top of the mat. I'm going to turn to the side. And then this dancing warrior sequence you can do with blocks or without blocks, but I'm going to go side to side, and I'm going to do it with blocks. And last couple of weeks, I've been practicing with blocks and without blocks, but the blocks give it a different quality and it changes your focus and concentration in a different way. So we're going to start with the feet parallel, standing in Tadasana, and you can have the blocks in the long way or the short way. If you know what we're going to be doing, Uttanasana, a forward bend is in this posture. So if you usually use blocks for Uttanasana, and at this, just decide which height is best for you, either that height or this height or that height. Okay. So I'm going to do this one. So we stand in Tadasana. Just take a few moments, get balanced on the arches of your feet, lift the crown of the head up. And then we're actually going to circle the arms back, reaching the blocks down, circling the blocks back behind us, coming into a back extension, and then bringing the shoulders over the hips, reaching the blocks up to the ceiling. And then we're going to come into Uttanasana, forward fold over the blocks to the outside of the feet, the hands on the blocks. Again, any height that feels best for you. And then from here, we're going to come halfway up. I press my hands in my feet down into the blocks in the floor and come halfway up like we did in that cow pose. And then release the crown of the head down back into Uttanasana. And then from here, we're going to come into a squat. My chest comes to my thighs. I deepen in my hip creases to come down. And it's okay if the heels come off the floor. If you want, if you know you have tight Achilles, you can always sit back. You can play with this. But this is fine. This is just to release the lower back here. And then it also prepares us for a lunge. So we're going to lift the pelvis up slightly and take the right leg back into a lunge. So reaching the right foot back, lifting the inner leg up, spreading the back of that right thigh from inner to outer, letting that left shin draw forward as the inner right heel draws back. And I tend to go a little bit slower um, in my practice of vinyasa. One, I'm older. And that means I just need to be a little bit safe and a little bit more careful about how I move my body, but also it helps me build strength in my body. And then let's bring the back heel down, the right heel down, lining up the back, the right arch with the front left heel. And then we're going to take that block in our right hand and reach that block forward and take it up to the ceiling. And then we're going to press down into the feet and come up into Virabhadrasana 2, reaching those blocks away from each other. And then we're going to come into reverse warrior, taking the left block up. And then coming out of that, reaching forward way over, like it's in my way over that left leg. And I just bring the back of my hand to my hip, and I'm going to come into Ardha Chandrasana. And then you can play with taking the block up and away from it. So when's the last time you played with blocks? And then bend that left knee. And then as you bend the left knee, see if you can take a momentary balance. Bring that block to your outer left foot, and then take your time and let that right foot land. And then from here, go ahead and come back to side angle. And then lift up into Virabhadrasana 2. And then straighten the legs. Turn the feet to parallel. And then bring the blocks to the center so they meet. Let the elbows go to the side. Lift the breastbone up. And then just bend the knees. Let the sit bones drop directly down. So just a little bit of a bend in the knee. Just to settle the breath for a few moments. Lift the crown, rooting down into the feet and lifting the crown of the head up. And then from here, we're going to straighten the legs. We're going to turn the right foot out, the left foot in. And then we're going to take the right arm out and we're going to come into a balance pose. And without the blocks, you could work on the balance pose could be tree pose, or it could be any balance pose where you're just on one leg. But I reach this block out, I come into a lunge, and then I keep reaching, and I see if I can play with balance by lifting my left leg up. I bring the blocks together once again. There's something about drawing the energy to the center of the body, and then bring the leg down, or you can bring the leg into Padangusthasana and then bring it down. And then you just simply go back to the other side. Here we go with the blocks. Back extension, take the blocks back. And then bring the shoulders over the hips. Lift the blocks up to the sky, rooting down through the feet. And then Uttanasana, forward bend, hands on the blocks, drop the head. And then halfway up, press the hands into the blocks. Here we go. That cow pose in Uttanasana. Drop the crown of the head. Make sure you're not leaning back on the heels, but you're right over the arches of your feet, getting right on the midline, the plumb line of your legs. And then bend the knees into the squat. Hands on the blocks, letting the groin soften. Let the chest rest on top of the thighs, spreading the back. And then from here, we're going to take the left leg back into a lunge. So I lift my pelvis up and let the left leg float back, hands on the blocks. Lifting that inner left leg up, drawing the sides of my torso through my arms. That left shin coming forward. And then with our next exhalation, we're going to bring the left foot down, lining up the back arch to the front heel, reaching the left arm forward, letting that swing us all the way up into Virabhadrasana 2. And then taking the block overhead into reverse warrior. And then reaching out of that, lunging forward. I bring the back of my hand to my outer left hip. And then I come forward, hand on the block, finding my balancing, practicing and playing. I always calling balance poses are just a sense of play. And then taking the arm up, if you wish, and then bringing the hand down. And then once again, bending that right knee on the side and reaching back into side angle. And then back to Virabhadrasana 2. Then straighten the legs, reaching, taking up space here. Taking up space as you bring the feet to parallel position. And then reach the arms out, bringing the blocks to each other. Bend the knees, elbows out to the side. Let the sit bones drop. And really treating the pelvis like a bowl. So you're not tipping the pelvis forward or backwards, but you're just sinking down. And then straighten the legs. Turn the left foot out, the right foot in. Take the left arm out. And then once again, see if you can find the balance. Any way that you can arrive there. You can play with Supta Pada Uttanasana and bring the leg down. Or it's not Supta, Supta is when you're lying down. So it's just Pada Uttanasana and bring the blocks down to your side. Okay, so now I'm going to do it without the blocks. But if you enjoyed the blocks, definitely keep them if you got something out of it. But I'm just going to do it now without the blocks so that you can see it. And also if you don't have blocks. But also know that you can use books or anything else. You just want to make sure that they're both the same size. So feet parallel position. And then we're going to exhale, take the arms back, opening up the chest, reaching the arms. And you can still pretend like you have the blocks. Then bring the shoulders over the pelvis, lift the fingertips up, rooting down through the feet, and then exhale, come forward, crown of the head to the floor, hands at the side, reaching into the blocks of the floor. And then back into that cow pose. Bring the breastbone perpendicular to the floor, and then back to Uttanasana. Bending the knees into that squat, spreading the back. And then we're going to lift the pelvis up, take the right leg back into a runner's lunge. Then we're going to line up the back arch with the front heel. And then we're going to reach the right arm forward, opening up, coming up into Virabhadrasana 2. Then from here, we're going to do the reverse warrior. And then out of the reverse warrior, we're going to reach forward and come into Ardha Chandrasana. If you can, play with that idea of the wall and that strap here. And then bending that knee, bringing that hand behind the foot, side of the foot, and back into side angle. And then back up to Virabhadrasana 2. Coming up, feet to parallel. And we can bring the hands to the hips or namaste, bending the knees. Again, just keeping the pelvic bowl just right, not tipping it forward, not back, but straight down. Maybe the idea of lifting the front of the pelvis up. And then from here, we're going to straighten the legs, turn the right foot out, left foot in. And this time I'm going to lunge, just a little bit of a lunge, come forward, let my right arm lift up to help me get right on that left foot, or right foot rather. And then from here, I'm going to see if I can come into tree pose. But you can do any variation of tree pose here, or you can even do it here. And then you can do Padangusthasana, and then the foot down. And then we just go back to the other side again, circling back and forward, halfway up, and then down, and then the squat, and then the left leg back on this side. One is lunge, and then lining up the back arch with the front heel, reaching the left arm forward, letting it bring us up into Virabhadrasana 2. And then reverse warrior. And then from here, leaning out and forward, coming to the floor for Ardha Chandrasana. Again, playing with that idea of the strap at our shoulders and drawing that outer hip away from the wall, maybe leaning back into the back body at that left shoulder, and then bending the knee, bringing the hand to the side of the foot, back to side angle, and then Virabhadrasana 2, and then straighten the leg, and then bring the feet to parallel, hands to the hips, elbows out to the side, crown of the head lengthening up. This is a pose. Sit bones down. And then take the arms out to the side. Turn the left foot out, the right foot in, and extend out with that left arm. Let that pull you up. And then see if you can come into any variation of tree pose. And then Padangusthasana, bringing that leg forward and down. And the hands back to the side. So that's the dancing warrior variation I've been practicing. There's a lot of back bends that opens up the chest. So that's why you feel your breathing changing. It warms me up. My house is cold in the mornings. So I need to do a little bit, need to move a little bit more. I need a little bit more movement before I go into a deeper practice. So the next thing that we're going to do is take the feet wide for Prasarita. You can have a block for your head or as many blocks as you need, but have something for your head. Head doesn't have to reach the floor, but we're going to build the floor up with the blocks. And then we're going to come forward from here, bring the crown of the head to the block, line up the fingernails to the toenails, and just let the back release. And again, you can do this with 2 blocks, any height that you have. And as you're here, go ahead and just press down through the feet and the hands and lift the shoulders up and draw the inner elbows towards each other. If you're practiced in handstand and you've done a tripod headstand, this is be a good place after Prasarita to do a version of, do some version of an inversion. But I'm going to show this one. But this is fine to be here. It's an inversion in itself. But if you're practicing a tripod headstand, you can do that. Make sure the ears are perpendicular to the floor. Lift the shoulders up as you press the hands down. And you can see if you can find your balance. And I bring my big toes together like a bind, and I lift up my inner legs, lifting up, spreading the back of my thighs, reaching my legs and my feet up to the sky, and then coming down. And you can always stay as long as you want, but I just wanted to show that. And bring the hands down. Come back to Prasarita, bring the hands forward. So you're more in that tabletop position to release the back. And then bring the hands to the hips. Bring the breastbone forward into that cow pose and let that lift you up. And then heel toe the feet together. And come into Tadasana. So that's the dancing warrior sequence. So to cool down, we're going to do Supta Padakastasana, which are the leg stretches on the floor. I'm going to have a blanket for the back of my head. And I'm going to take my strap and let's just lie on our back for a moment. Just feeling the back, let the back rest. Feel like the palms lift up to the sky or face the sky. Feel the soles of the feet against the mat. Let the abdominal region soften and drop back towards the spine. And then we're going to take our strap. We're going to lift the right leg and we're going to take the strap on the ball of our right foot. And we're going to extend the left leg out. And press the center of the left leg down, rooting it down into the mat. And then lift the ball of the foot up into the strap. And as you feel the hamstrings open, walk your hands up towards up the strap and let the elbows bend to the side. And then from here, we're going to take the strap in the left hand. And then we're going to take the left arm. We're going to take the left arm out to the side and the right leg out to the side. Yeah. Reaching the legs away from each other, extending the left leg away as you lengthen the inner leg of the right. And then bring the leg back up. Take the strap in your left hand. And we're going to bend the left knee momentarily and just take the hips over to the right about an inch, half an inch or so, and then extend the left leg again, but have it so that the foot is more in line with your right sit bone. And we're going to reach the foot up into the strap to come into a twist. And that left pinky toe will come to the floor, but you want to stack that outer right hip right over the left. So you don't want it to hang back, but you want it really stacked. If anything, you're kind of rooting that outer left hip down into the floor to really feel that. And then that left arm comes out to the side. If you want a little bit more stretch through the back of the shoulders, you can lift the shoulders up and just shift them over towards the leg a little bit more, towards the right leg, and let them come back down to the floor. And then come back to center. One more turn in the first position. And then from here, let's bend the left knee, bend the right, and we'll rest here for a moment before we do the other side. Stretching out the legs or bending the knees. Okay, then we'll do the other side. We'll bend the knees again. Take the strap now up into the left leg. And straighten the right leg. And then reaching the back of that right leg down into the floors and letting the left leg release, softening in that left hip crease, bending the elbows up to the side and walking the hands up the strap as you feel your hamstrings open up. And then take the strap into your left hand, take the right arm out to the side, and then from here, root down into that right leg as you circle and take the left leg out to the side. Feeling balanced on that sacrum, reaching through that inner groin to the inner heel. And then let the leg float back up. Take the strap in the right hand. We're going to bend the right leg momentarily. Shift the hips over to the left. And then extend the right leg out so that foot and that heel hovers right underneath the back of that left leg. And then coming into a twist, we're going to reach the foot into the strap and bring that right pinky toe down to the floor, stacking the outer left hip right over the right. You can even use your thumb here. I didn't mention that on the other side, but you can use your thumb here and just pull that away. You can see how this wants to pull up. I get a little bit of opening in the side waist. And also it's a good action for the hip. And then exhale, use the strength of your legs to come up. Another turn here, both legs straight. Noticing working all those different directions of the femur bone and the hip socket, what that gives you when you come back to revisit Supta Padangusthasana 1. And then exhale, bend the knee. And then from here, you can take the strap to the side, and you have your blanket there to prepare for Shavasana. And we're going to do what's called a stiff Shavasana. I got this from Mati Asrati. She's a teacher of mine. But I find that it sets the body up really nicely for a morning practice. At least for me, it does. You can see what it does for you. I reach my hands down towards my feet. I hold on to my mat. I turn my elbow creases away from each other, and I press my upper arms down. And that gives my chest an opening and my lungs are opening. And then what I like to do is bring the big toes together, and I slide the feet away from each other, pressing the inner legs down. And then once the legs come down, you can release the arms from the mat, but just leave the chest open. And just let the legs find its natural rotation. Let the arms come out to the side. It's always good to be in Shavasana for at least 5 minutes. But this is a pose you can be in for 20 minutes or longer if you need it. But really allowing the body to just release and let go. And when you're ready to come out, you just bend one knee at a time. Take the right arm overhead, roll over to your side. I like to spend a little bit of time in the side body, just breathing here. And then using the strength of my arms to come up. All right, so that's it. So that is my vinyasa practice that I do in the mornings. And I just wanted to share that with you. And, also as a way to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I am eternally grateful for the support and love of our beloved Anasa community. So if you have questions or you want to know how to create variations of this, feel free to email me. You can still email me at zola@anasaoakland.com. So I look forward to hearing from you if you have questions. And I just want to encourage everyone to stay safe and healthy and well. Do what you need to do for yourself to be happy as we continue to get through these difficult times so where we can see one another again. Thank you. Namaste.